Great advice. Next, we're going to talk about color. What type trends are you seeing with color?
Once again, back to the green movement. We're seeing a lot of neutrals, layered neutrals, shades of cream and ivory and antique and off-white and taupe and beige and soft browns. And so people are really going for the neutrals. And the advantage to that is if you have a neutral palette, you can always change your color seasonally by adding colored pillows or colored accessories, and you can change them like you can do a fall-winter look and then add some more bright color like orange or green for the spring and summer, but it allows you to change your environment, and it's less expensive than getting all new furniture. But I think one of the reasons people are drawn to the neutral color palette is because our society has gotten so fast-paced with technology and email and texting and Twitter and Facebook, and like you have to be accessible 24 hours a day, that people when they come home just want some tranquility and they want some peace and they want a safe haven. And the neutral palette is very calming, and I think it feels restful. So people are, surrounding themselves. It's with not homes are not as busy.
I see from our slide that blue is back in. Can you tell me what you're seeing with the blues?
Yes, there was blue all over the marketplace, in fabrication, blue furnishings, blue, chests, and the painted blue finishes. A lot of the finishes with the worn, the worn paint kind of worn off and natural. Everything's more natural. Nothing's formal, and no shiny finishes. Everything is very natural, but we're seeing a lot of that blue. The spa blue has been big for quite some time, and you see that in a lot of decorating, but the blue, we're seeing more blues. We're seeing, navies back, like Ralph Lauren uses a lot of that navy, and marine blues and Wedgwood blue, and just lots of multi-colors of blue all together. And it just has a fresh, crisp, kind of serene feeling, and I think that's why people are drawn to that. And I'm excited because I'm a big blue fan. I have a blue and white kitchen and a blue and white family room, and I have a blue and white collection of porcelain, so I've always had blue, so it's always been in for me. But once again, surround yourself with things that make you feel good, and you'll love your home.
You mentioned to me a little earlier that you actually saw some purple.
Yeah. That was kind of interesting because purple has kind of not been in the mainstream. I haven't seen purple much in the marketplace in the last 10 years, but there were some spots of purple, like accents of color and purple in fabrication, and some mauve, the bright, the aubergines and the amethyst, as well as some mauves, believe it or not. But I think it's more of a tickle and not a trend.
Great. What about fibers? What are you seeing with fibers?
Well, once again, the green movement, people are moving away from man-made fibers, and I saw it seems like every showroom I went in had linen, linen, be it slip covers, linen fabrics, linen pillows, a lot of the natural fibers, cottons, raw silk is quite lovely, but just people don't want the chemicals, and they want that natural look.
What about the patterns? Are you seeing any new and unusual patterns?
Yes. I didn't see, a lot of the florals. I don't think they're as popular now as they once were. There will always be people that like their florals, but florals not the mainstream. There were a couple of unusual patterns that I saw in a lot of the showrooms that kind of were inspired by the global influence, and that would be the Suzanne pattern, which means needle, and the ikat, which is very, very, very popular, the ikat pattern, and you even see it in ready-to-wear women's clothing. But the interesting thing about how they make the ikat pattern is ikat means to bind, and they originally they used palm blades, and they would bind it inside the fabric and tie up the fabric and then dye the fabric. And it's that palm blade that would leave the impression of the ikat on the fabric, and much like, you know, tie dyeing, but that's where the name ikat comes from. But it's very, very popular, and saw that in a lot of showrooms, and also you see a lot in the design magazines and in the fashion stores.
Okay, if you haven't typed in your question, please type them in now. And the first question we have, Donna, is faux painting still big?
Faux painting is not as big as it once was, and you know, trends come and go. And I always say, you know, when the trend hits the mass markets, like when you see the faux painting kits at Home Depot, then the trend is on its way out. But it is not as popular, and I think people once again are going more for that clean look, so they're not doing a lot of ornate looks on their walls. They're keeping it clean, and I think that's also an economic reason as well, that people are not spending the money to faux paint their homes. Where once, I'm sure you, being in the real estate industry, saw a lot of homes everybody was faux painting. So it's not as popular as it once was. Wallpaper is actually resurging, and it's you know, people are using wallpaper again. But the wallpaper is not as ornate, more clean, simplistic, natural textures. Grass cloth is back, and nature inspired. You're seeing images of branches and leaves, and a lot of tone on tone. Not real busy, not, you know, not tons of color again. And the one interesting thing that you know, years ago there was palm trees were the hot thing, and then it was monkeys, and then dragonflies. The one kind of whimsical thing that I saw at market, and I saw it in art and fabrics and wallpaper, was peacocks. So I thought you'll see peacocks.
That ought to be interesting and colorful to have peacocks. What are people doing for window coverings?
Gone are the day of the ornate and festoony window treatments. And we're seeing, you know, as we're talking here today, you're seeing really it's the same story again. People don't have the money to spend. Window treatments can be thousands and thousands of dollars, especially the more ornate you get, and depending on the fabrics you use as well. But if people are using window treatments, which we're doing very simple panels, and we're using a lot of the natural fibers, you know, cottons and you know, raw silks and natural silks, and but very less is more when it comes to window treatments. And shutters are still big, Roman shades, just very clean, simple, not ornate.
Seems like that has been a real trend.
Yeah.
What styles of furniture are in?
Well, we've been nesting for quite some time now, probably since 9/11, but I think now with the economy in the last couple of years, people are not going out as much, not vacationing as much, so their home has become even more important. So they're staying put and deciding to, you know, make their home their haven. So they're creating a home that's comfortable, that's not as formal, you know, unencumbered. The furnishings that they have now, they want multi-purpose functional furnishings, not just for looks anymore. So for instance, you know, the sofa table might be a fold-out or a gate leg sofa table that the kids can do their homework on, or when you entertain, you know, you can pull that out and serve food there or eat there. They're wanting, you know, their home to function. It's no longer just looking good. It's about feeling good and feeling comfortable. Lines are cleaner, less fussy, less formal, less traditional. We're seeing in the marketplace, when you go to market, not as much as in Jacksonville yet, but the transitional is really what's in, and that's transitional is in between, you know, contemporary and traditional. And when you have transitional pieces in your home, you can combine them with what you already have that's traditional, and you can add some contemporary, and it's that, but just that clean look, clean lines, maybe not as many skirts on the furnishings. Big interesting thing is that slipcovers are back. And when you think about it, they're really very multi-purpose and functional, and they're using the natural fibers. So, for instance, I actually just had slipcovers made for my home, and I did a natural cotton, and this is my blue and white, so I have natural cottons, and you can wash and dry the fabric before the slipcovers are made. And I had an accident with my dog on the slipcover, so I just had to zip off that cushion casing, throw it in the wash dry, and put it back on the sofa. So very practical, and you can also change out the look of your house. I have off-white underneath, and that I can use in spring and summer, and then my slipcovers are blue, a blue tone-on-tone pattern that I use the rest of the year. And it gives you an opportunity to change out your look, and it's also very practical.
That's an awesome change. I believe this is our last question. What are you seeing for flooring?
I'm seeing a lot more wood and sustainable materials like bamboo and cork, not as much tile or carpeting. And the wood is just, it's much more prevalent than it's ever been. Are you seeing that in the new homes here?
Yeah, there haven't been a tremendous number of new homes, but the new homes that we have seen, I do, and I love wood flooring.
Yes,
so, yeah.
I have it in my home, and even the woods are, you know, the finishes are more rustic, the hand scraped, once again, so that you don't have to worry about them getting scratched or not looking good. They're not using the high sheen finishes as much, and it's more of the just everything's more natural looking.
Well, that concludes our webinar this morning, and the webinar, like all of them, will be posted on the Davidson Realty website, so feel free to share this with someone else, and please join us for future webinars. And Donna, thank you so much for sharing all